Hi everyone, my name is Shivani and I'm a regulated Canadian immigration consultant and founder of Zeste Immigration Services Incorporation. Today in this video, we'll be talking about one of the easiest Canadian PR programs. Well, this program is not only easy for people living inside Canada, it's also easy for people living outside Canada. Well, this program is called Atlantic Immigration Program. So please watch this video till the end because we're going to be talking about eligibility requirements, process, everything step by step, and the document checklist for this program. So stay tuned. The Atlantic Immigration Program offers permanent residence to skilled workers that want to settle in one of the 4 provinces, which is Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Newfoundland and Labrador, and Prince Edward Island. Originally launched in 2017, the Atlantic Immigration Program, also known as AIP, has now brought over 10,000 new permanent residents to Atlantic Canada. 4 Canadian provinces, again, which are New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Newfoundland and Labrador, and Prince Edward Island, together make up Atlantic Canada. Building upon the success of the pilot, the Atlantic Immigration Pilot Program was made permanent on December 17, 2021, and accordingly renamed as Atlantic Immigration Program. The new permanent program officially opened on January 1st, 2022. The Atlantic Immigration Program is a type of immigration program that allows employers in Atlantic provinces of Canada to hire immigrants for jobs. You can also apply for permanent residence via this program, regardless of whether you're located inside or outside Canada. To be able to apply under the AIP or Atlantic Immigration Program, the candidate must intend to settle in Atlantic Canada, have recently completed graduation from a recognized post-secondary institution in Atlantic Canada, or be a skilled worker, whether located inside or outside Canada. The Atlantic Immigration Program is designed to welcome additional newcomers to the Atlantic Canada region to fill the needs of local employers and communities. The program allows designated local employers to identify, recruit, and retain global talent. The program also has the goals of supporting population growth, developing a skilled workforce, and increasing employment rates in the region. The AIP has proven to be a major success for immigrants, employers, and the Atlantic region. It continues to provide permanent resident status to thousands of immigrants each year, which addresses the needs of local employers and promotes population, labor force, and economic growth. So now let's see how this program works. The Atlantic Immigration Program is an employer-driven program that facilitates the hiring of foreign nationals. All principal applicants arriving in Canada under the program must have a job offer from a designated employer and an individualized settlement plan for themselves and their family members. Once a designated employer finds a candidate or the applicant who meets their employment needs and the program criteria as well, then the employer will first have to offer them a job. Employers do not need to go through the LMIA process, which is one of the best things. Once the candidate has accepted the job, the employer will then connect the candidate with the designated settlement service provider organization for the assessment and to develop a settlement plan. Employers will also support the long-term integration of the new immigrant and his or her family members if applicable, so they can reach the goals of their settlement plan once they arrive in Canada. Employers that need to fill a job vacancy quickly will have access to temporary work permit so that the candidate and his or her family can come to Canada as soon as possible. In order to obtain this work permit, candidates will have to fulfill certain requirements, which is getting a valid job offer, a letter from the province, and a commitment to apply for permanent residence within 90 days of the temporary work permit application. Employer designation. Employers that would like to hire skilled immigrants under this program must apply to the provinces in order to receive the designation. Employers with locations in multiple provinces will require a separate designation for each province. Employers must meet certain requirements, including a commitment to support the newcomer and his or her family members as they integrate into their new life in the Atlantic Canada. Now let's go through the candidate requirements. To be eligible for the AIP, the candidate must have qualifying work experience unless they are an international student who graduated from a recognized post-secondary institution in Atlantic Canada. They must also meet the educational criteria, language criteria, and show that they have enough settlement funds. The candidate does not need to show proof of funds if they are already living in Canada and working in Canada with a valid Canadian work permit. The candidate can now start looking for a job with a designated Atlantic Canada employer if they meet the aforementioned criteria. Now let's go through the work experience requirements in detail for the Atlantic Immigration Program. The candidate must have worked at least 1,560 hours, that means 1,560 hours in the last 5 years. To calculate the hours, count hours worked in full-time and part-time jobs, only count paid hours of work, do not count any volunteer or unpaid hours, do not count any self-employment work hours. The candidate can count hours worked both inside and outside Canada. If the work experience was gained in Canada, then the candidate must have been legally authorized to work in Canada as a temporary resident. Count hours that were accumulated at least over a period of 12 months. The candidate can count work experience gained while they were studying as long as the work hours comply with the conditions of their study permit. The work experience needs to be under NOC tier category 0, 1, 2, or 3. The work experience must include the actions in the description of your NOC, and most of the main duties of your NOC should match with your job description. International graduates. So, international students who graduated in Canada do not need to meet the work experience requirements if they have a degree, diploma, or certificate, or trade or apprenticeship certificate that took at least 2 years of study and from a recognized post-secondary institution in New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, or Newfoundland and Labrador. They were a full-time student during their entire studies, had the visa or permit that needed to work or study or get training while they lived in Canada, lived in one of the Atlantic provinces for at least 16 months during the last 2 years before they graduated. Now let's go through the educational requirements. So, if the job offer that you're being offered is in NOC tier category 0 or 1, then you must have a 1-year post-secondary educational credentials or higher or the equivalent outside of Canada. If your job offer is NOC tier category 2, 3, or 4, you must have a Canadian high school diploma or equivalent outside of Canada. Well, if you studied outside of Canada, you need to get an ECA, which is also known as Educational Credential Assessment, to confirm your studies are equivalent to a Canadian educational standards needed for your job offer. The ECA report must be less than 5 years old on the day the RCIC receives your application. Now let's go through the language requirements. For tier category 0 or 1 job offers, you need to have at least CLB level 5, and for tier category 2, 3, or 4 job offers, you need to have at least CLB level 4. The results have to be from a designated language testing organization, which can be IELTS, CELPIP, TEF, or TCF. The test results must be less than 2 years old when you apply. Now let's talk about settlement funds. If the applicant is already in Canada and is working on a valid Canadian work permit, well, in that case, they do not need to show proof of funds. However, for all other applicants, you need to show enough proof of funds to support yourself and your family members. This amount depends on the size of your family, including your dependents, whether they are accompanying you to Canada or not. The table here shows the minimum amount you need to immigrate to Canada under this program as of April 25, 2023. The proof of funds numbers are subject to change, and that's why it is recommended that you can always check the latest numbers on the Atlantic Immigration Program's official website. I'll link this website down below in the description, so that way it's going to be easy for you to check it out. Here's more with the proof of funds. Your funds must be available to you both when you apply for a PR application and when the RCC issues you PR when they approve your application. You must prove to the RCC that you can legally access the money when you arrive. For example, this means that you cannot use equity on real property as proof of settlement funds. Also, you cannot borrow this money from anyone else, any family member, or simply another person. You must be able to use this money to pay your family's cost of living even if they are not coming with you to Canada. If your spouse is coming with you, you can count money you have together in a joint account. You may be able to count money in an account under the spouse's name only, but you must prove that you have access to that money. So here's what RCC accepts as proof. For proof, you must get official letters from any banks or financial institutions where you have an account. These letters must be printed on their financial institution's letterhead and include the bank or the institution's contact information, means their address, telephone number, and email address, your name, your outstanding debts, such as credit card debts or loans, these details for each current banking and investment account you have with them, account numbers, date each account was opened, current account balances, average balance over past 6 months. And here's the basic document checklist for the Atlantic Immigration Program. Well, you would need valid passport, test results for language skills, police clearance certificate, proof of funds, medical certificate, ECA, also known as Educational Credential Assessment, legit settlement plan, employment letter, certificate of endorsement, proof of payment. And additional documents may include proof of experience and marriage license or certificate if needed. Now let's answer some of the very basic FAQs for this program. What is the age limit for the AIP Canada? Well, there is no particular age limit for this program. However, chances are that the candidates between the age of 18 to 35 may be prioritized. Does AIP require a job offer? Yes, it does require a job offer, and that too from a designated employer. Can spouses of AIP candidates get a work permit? Yes, spouses of AIP candidates can get an open work permit. It is given while the processing of the AIP application. How do I get a job offer? In order to get the job offer from the Atlantic Immigration Program, you must fulfill certain criteria. The designated employers from the 4 Atlantic provinces of Canada can offer you a job. When they offer you the job, they'll also have to send an offer of employment to a foreign national forum. You must ensure that you meet the requirements to be eligible to apply. Match the job requirements as posted in the National Occupational Classification. Qualify for the particular program selected by the employer. The best thing about this is that the present job offer that you get does not have to be similar to the previous jobs you have had. So that is it about the Atlantic Immigration Program. If you have any questions, then feel free to mention them in the comments. If you want to get your personal case assessment done, then feel free to contact us at www.zestcanada.ca or feel free to book an appointment with us. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also hit the bell icon so that you get notified every single time I post a new video. If you wish to talk about your Canadian immigration case or your Canadian immigration options, then feel free to contact us at www.zestcanada.ca, or you can simply book a consultation with me using the link given in the description box below. So please go ahead and check it out. I wish you all the very best for your future and see you soon.